In the dim light of ancient catacombs beneath St. Peter's Basilica, Raoul Endymion's fingers traced the cold stone walls, feeling the weight of centuries pressing down upon him. The revelations about the cruciform's true nature began to unfold like a horrifying tapestry. Through encrypted data crystals discovered in a forgotten archive, Abetic decoded the terrible truth. The parasitic nature of the cross-shaped implants wasn't merely biological. It was a bridge between humanity and the Technocore's ultimate plan. The soft blue glow of Abetic's interface illuminated their shocked faces as holographic projections revealed the systematic harvesting of human consciousness. Father Captain de Sawyer, watching from the shadows, felt his own cruciform burn with newfound awareness. Aenea's voice trembled as she shared her vision with the gathered resistance. The cruciforms, those seemingly divine gifts of resurrection, were actually sophisticated core constructs, each resurrection diminishing the human soul until only an empty shell remained. In the candle-lit chamber of the Resistance's hideout, survivors from different worlds shared their stories of loved ones changed by multiple resurrections. The air grew thick with tension as Father Captain de Sawyer revealed his own growing doubts about the Pax's teachings. Meanwhile, in orbit, Pax warships gathered like dark stars, their crews unaware of the truth that would soon shatter their faith. The revelations spread like wildfire through the Resistance networks. Raoul watched as Aenea's message reached world after world, her truth breaking centuries of carefully constructed lies. The Pax's response was swift and merciless. As planetary communications went dark one by one, Abetic worked frantically to maintain their quantum connections. In a moment of crisis, Father Captain de Sawyer made his choice, publicly removing his cruciform in a broadcast that reached millions. The act sparked a revolution, but also brought the full might of the Pax fleet bearing down upon their location. As alarms blared through the compound, Raoul realized their time of hiding was over. The real war for humanity's soul was about to begin. Raoul Endymion and Aenea stood on the edge of a luminescent forest, the leaves above them shimmering with hues of purple and gold. The air was thick with the scent of distant rain, and a gentle breeze carried whispers from the unknown. "They are coming," Aenea whispered, her eyes reflecting the swirling galaxies overhead. Raoul felt a chill run down his spine. The Pax was relentless, and their pursuit had brought them to this enchanted world, a sanctuary teetering on the brink of invasion. As night deepened, they gathered around a flickering campfire with their companion, the ever-loyal android Abetic. Stories of resistance flickered in the flames, tales of others who opposed the oppressive reach of the Pax and the hidden manipulations of the Technocore. Just as hope began to kindle, the distant sound of engines shattered the peace. The silhouettes of enemy ships descended through the sky, casting ominous shadows over the forest. "We must rally them," Aenea declared, her voice cutting through the rising panic. Raoul nodded, his resolve hardening as they prepared to ignite the spark of rebellion. Guided by the ethereal glow of bioluminescent plants, they ventured deeper into the woods until they reached a hidden enclave. There, beings from countless worlds had gathered, tall, willowy figures with skin that shimmered like water, stout individuals with eyes that held ancient wisdom, and ethereal entities that seemed woven from light itself. The air hummed with anticipation as Aenea stepped forward, her presence commanding yet gentle. She spoke of unity, freedom, and the power that lay within each of them to alter the course of history. Raoul watched as skepticism transformed into hope among the crowd. Just when unity seemed within reach, A sudden tremor shook the ground. From the shadows emerged enigmatic creatures, neither wholly machine nor organic, their intentions unreadable. The newfound allies braced themselves, unsure if these beings were friend or foe. A tense silence enveloped them, broken only when one of the creatures extended a limb in a gesture of peace. The path forward was unclear, but with new alliances forming, there was a chance to stand against the encroaching darkness. As dawn approached, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, the allies prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Raoul spent the early hours reinforcing defenses, his thoughts a whirlwind of strategies and fears. Aenir moved among the people, offering words of comfort and igniting courage in their hearts. Just as the first light touched the treetops, the pack's forces emerged, a formidable array of soldiers and machines, their metallic armor reflecting the morning light ominously. The resistance stood their ground, a tapestry of beings united under a common cause. The air was thick with tension when, suddenly, a melody drifted through the battlefield, a haunting tune that stirred memories of home and peace. It was Aenir's doing, her voice weaving through the minds of friend and foe alike. For a moment, weapons wavered, and the lines between enemy and ally blurred. But the moment shattered as the commanding voice of the Pax ordered an advance. The final stand was upon them. With a resolute gaze, Raoul tightened his grip on his weapon. The fate of worlds hung in the balance, and as the battle cry rose, the embers of revolution ignited into flames. Raoul, Endymion, and Aenir stood atop a hill overlooking a shimmering valley, where time seemed to flow differently. The air was thick with the scent of blooming flowers, and the sky above swirled with colors unseen in any other world. As they gazed upon the landscape, echoes of ancient voices whispered secrets carried by the wind. Aenir closed her eyes, feeling the pulse of the universe synchronize with her heartbeat. "We are nearing the fulcrum," she whispered. Raoul glanced at her, concern etched on his rugged face. Before he could speak, the ground beneath them trembled, and the scene shifted, revealing a doorway of light. Without hesitation, Aenir took Raoul's hand, leading him into the unknown as shadows from their past began to stir. They emerged into a labyrinthine forest where each tree bore leaves of glass, reflecting different moments in time. Paths twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the maze. Soft melodies echoed, each note unraveling memories long forgotten. Aenir sensed the presence of observers, beings cloaked in mist whose eyes glowed with ancient wisdom. "Every choice we've made leads here," she said. Raoul felt a surge of déjà vu as visions flitted across the mirrored leaves. Battles fought, friends lost, promises made. The mist thickened, and the watchers drew closer. At a crossroads, they faced multiple paths, each pulsing with its own rhythm. Time was unraveling, and they had to choose quickly. With a determined glance at Raoul, Aenir stepped onto the path bathed in golden light, trusting he would follow. Behind them, the forest rearranged itself, the way back disappearing. The path led them to a tranquil lake that mirrored a sky filled not with stars, but with swirling galaxies. The surface rippled gently, distorting the cosmic reflections. Aenir knelt by the water's edge, her fingertips brushing the surface. "This is the heart of time," she breathed. Raoul joined her, awestruck by the vastness surrounding them. Suddenly, the water began to rise, forming shapes and patterns that danced in the air. Visions of possible futures and past regrets intertwined in a mesmerizing display. A voice, neither male nor female, echoed around them. "Choose your destiny." Aenir looked deep into Raoul's eyes. Together, she said firmly. They embraced as the galaxies above swirled faster, the universe holding its breath. As they made their choice, light enveloped them, and everything faded. The chapter closed with the lingering question of where, or when, they would emerge. Raoul and Endymion stood at the edge of the crystalline lake, its iridescent surface reflecting the twin moons that hung low in the velvety night sky. The air was alive with the gentle hum of unseen creatures, and the faint rustling of leaves whispering secrets carried by the wind. A soft glow emanated from the surrounding flora, casting ethereal patterns upon Raoul's contemplative face. Suddenly, he felt a presence beside him. Aeneas approached, her eyes shimmering with an otherworldly light. "It's time," she said softly, her voice melding with the night symphony. The weight of her words settled upon them both. The ancient prophecies they had followed were culminating in this moment. As they gazed across the lake, the water began to ripple unnaturally. From the depths, a luminous figure emerged, its form ever shifting and surrounded by a halo of starlight. The figure extended a hand, beckoning them toward an unknown destiny. Raoul and Aeneas exchanged a glance, filled with both trepidation and hope. The path ahead was uncertain, but they knew it was one they were meant to walk together. Just as they decided to step forward, a distant roar echoed through the mountains, a reminder that their pursuers were not far behind. Venturing into the heart of the ancient forest, Raoul and Aeneas were enveloped by towering trees, whose branches intertwined like the threads of time. The air was thick with the scent of moss and the faint glow of bioluminescent flowers that bloomed in impossible shapes. Each step seemed to echo with the footsteps of those who had passed long before them. They came upon a clearing where massive stone structures spiraled into the sky, ruins of a civilization lost to history. Intricate carvings adorned the walls, telling stories of heroes, battles, and cosmic mysteries. Aeneas ran her fingers over the symbols, her eyes closed as if she could absorb the knowledge etched within. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled. The carvings began to move, the stone figures coming to life, their eyes opening to reveal swirling galaxies within. The guardians of the past had awakened. Raoul drew a deep breath, readying himself as the guardians advanced. But instead of attacking, they formed a pathway leading deeper into the ruins. A silent invitation, or perhaps a test. With a cautious nod to each other, they proceeded. Unbeknownst to them, shadows moved at the forest's edge, watching their every move. The path led them to a vast chamber carved from the very essence of the planet. At its center floated an enormous orb pulsating with multicolored light, an interdimensional gateway. The air crackled with energy, and the walls shimmered as if not entirely solid. Aeneas stepped forward, her face illuminated by the swirling hues. "This is the convergence point," she whispered. Raoul felt a surge of awe and fear. This was the nexus of all they had been seeking, and all they had been running from. As they contemplated their next move, the chamber trembled. From the shadows emerged figures cloaked in darkness, their intentions unmistakably hostile. The forces that had hunted them across worlds had found them at last. "We have to choose," Raoul said urgently. Aeneas turned to him, her expression resolute yet tender. "The gateway can only take one of us," she revealed, a tear glistening on her cheek. Before Raoul could protest, she placed a gently glowing object into his hand, a piece of her own essence. The dark figures closed in, their weapons raised. With a final poignant smile, Aeneas pushed Raoul toward the orb. The last thing he saw was her standing bravely to face their enemies as the light engulfed him. As he was propelled into the unknown, Raoul vowed that this was not the end, that somehow he would find his way back to her.
Thank you for venturing into this realm with me. If you crave more enchanted worlds, mythical battles, and secrets whispered from ancient pages, join the Guild of Storybound Explorers. Subscribe now and ring the bell to unlock every new quest the moment it drops. The next chapter awaits. Will you answer the call?